Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Horizon, staring at the star map in front of him. The ship had been traveling through space for 3 months now, looking for new planets and life forms. It was supposed to be a simple mission. They would scan planets, take notes, and return to Earth with their findings. Jake was a tall man with brown hair and calm blue eyes. He had been a ship captain for 10 years, but he had never seen anything like what was happening now. The Horizon was a good ship built for exploration, not fighting. It carried a crew of 50 people, all experts in their fields. "Captain, we have a problem," said Lisa Carter from her seat at the communication station. Lisa was young, maybe 25, with short red hair and quick hands that moved across her control panel like she was playing a piano. "I'm picking up a signal." "It's not from any human ship." Jake walked over to her station. "What kind of signal?" "It's big, sir. Really big. The computer says it's coming from a ship that's at least 5 times larger than ours." Lisa's voice was steady, but Jake could hear the worry in it. Ryan Brooks, the science officer, looked up from his instruments. Ryan was a thin man with glasses, who loved to study everything around him. "Captain, the ship is moving toward us. Fast. They'll be here in about 10 minutes. Jake felt his stomach tighten. The Horizon was far from home, far from any help. If this alien ship meant trouble, they were on their own. "All hands, this is the captain," Jake said into the ship's communication system. "We have an unknown vessel. Approaching. All crew to stations. This is not a drill." The bridge became busy as everyone checked their equipment. Jake had trained his crew well, and they knew what to do. But training was different from the real thing. "Captain, they're trying to talk to us," Lisa said. She put her hand to her earpiece. "The signal is strong, but I can't understand the language. It sounds ... angry." Jake nodded. "Can you send them our standard greeting message?" Lisa typed on her keyboard. "Sending now, sir." She waited a moment, then shook her head. "They're responding, but it's not friendly. The computer is trying to translate, but it's having trouble." Through the big window at the front of the bridge, Jake could see a dot of light growing larger. As it got closer, he could make out the shape of the alien ship. It was huge, dark, and covered in what looked like weapons. The ship looked like it was built for war, not exploration. "My God," whispered Ryan. "Captain, look at the size of that thing. And those weapon systems. They're unlike anything in our databases." The alien ship was black and red, with sharp edges and spikes. It looked like a giant metal beast floating. In space, Jake had seen pictures of Earth's old warships, but this was something else entirely. This ship was made to scare people, and it was working. "They're scanning us," Ryan reported. "Deep scans. They're looking at everything. Our weapons, our crew, even our air supply." Jake made a decision. "Lisa, open a channel. All frequencies. Let's try to talk to them." Lisa's fingers moved quickly. "Channel open, sir." Jake took a deep breath. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the human exploration vessel USS Horizon. We come in peace. We mean no harm to you or your people." The response came quickly. The alien voice was deep and rough, like rocks grinding together. Even through the translation system, Jake could tell the speaker was not happy. "I am War Chief Kethver of the Vorthik Empire. Your ship will prepare to be boarded. Any resistance will result in your destruction." Jake felt his crew looking at him. These aliens, the Vorthik, clearly thought they were in charge. But Jake had to protect his people. "War Chief Kethver, we are explorers, not warriors. We don't want any trouble. Perhaps we can talk and avoid any conflict." The alien ship moved closer. Jake could see smaller ships leaving it, heading toward the Horizon. They looked like attack ships, fast and deadly. "Your words mean nothing, human." The Vorthik do not talk with weak species. You will surrender your ship, or we will take it by force. Ben Parker, the security chief, stood up from his station. Ben was a big man with strong arms and a serious face. Captain, should I prepare the security teams? Jake thought quickly. The Horizon had some weapons, but nothing that could fight a ship that size. Fighting would only get his crew killed. No, Ben, let them board, but keep your teams ready. Jake turned back to the communication system. War Chief Kethvar, we will not resist. But we ask that you treat our crew with respect. The alien voice laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Respect is earned, human. You will learn this soon enough. Jake watched as the alien attack ships got closer. In a few minutes, his ship would be full of armed aliens. He had to keep his crew safe, but he also had to be ready for anything. All hands, prepare for boarding, Jake announced. Stay calm, follow orders, and remember your training. We'll get through this. The first alien ship attached itself to the Horizon's hull with a loud clang that echoed through the entire ship. Jake could hear the sound of metal cutting metal as the aliens made their way inside. They're in Cargo Bay 3, Ben reported, moving toward the main corridor. Jake straightened his uniform and walked to the center of the bridge. Whatever happened next, he would face it as a captain should. His crew was depending on him, and he would not let them down. The door to the bridge opened, and Jake got his first look at the Vorthik. The Vorthik who entered the bridge was unlike anything Jake had ever seen. War Chief Kethvar stood nearly 8 feet tall, with dark red skin that looked like it was made of leather. His arms were thick with muscle, and his hands ended in sharp claws. 2 small horns grew from his forehead, and his yellow eyes glowed in the bridge lights. Behind him came 6 more Vorthik warriors, each one carrying weapons that looked like they could cut through steel. They wore black armor that covered most of their bodies, but Jake could see that they were all built like fighters. These were not people who talked their way out of problems. So, Kethvar said, his voice filling the bridge, these are the humans. He walked around the bridge, looking at each crew member like he was deciding which one to eat first. You are smaller than I expected. Weaker too. Jake stepped forward. I'm Captain Morrison. This is my ship and my crew. We've done nothing wrong. Kethvar stopped in front of Jake and looked down at him. The alien was so tall that Jake had to look up to meet his eyes. Nothing wrong? You exist in space that belongs to the Vorthik Empire. That is wrong enough. We didn't know this was your space, Jake said calmly. We're explorers. We come from a planet called Earth. We're just trying to learn about the galaxy. One of the Vorthik warriors laughed. Explorers? You look like prey to me. Kethvar held up his hand, and the warrior stopped laughing. Tell me about your world, human. What kind of place creates creatures like you? Before Jake could answer, there was a commotion near the bridge entrance. One of the Vorthik warriors stumbled and fell to the ground. Dark blue blood was flowing. From a cut on his arm, Dr. Amy Foster immediately moved toward the wounded alien. Amy was a small woman with blonde hair and gentle hands, but she was the best doctor on the ship. She knelt beside the wounded Vorthik without fear. Let me help, Amy said, opening her medical bag. This cut needs to be cleaned and sealed. The wounded Vorthik snarled at her, showing teeth like a shark. Stay away from me, human. But Amy ignored his angry words. She took out her medical tools and began cleaning the wound. The Vorthik tried to pull away, but Amy held his arm firmly. Hold still, she said in a calm voice. If this gets infected, it could be serious. Kethvar watched this with surprise. Why do you help him? He is your enemy. Amy looked up at the war chief while she worked. He's hurt. That's all I need to know. The other Vorthik warriors looked at each other in confusion. They had conquered dozens of worlds, but they had never seen anything like this. Most species either fought back or cowered in fear. They didn't help their enemies. "There," Amy said, finishing her work. "The wound is clean and sealed. It should heal in a few days." The wounded Vorthik looked at his arm, then at Amy. He seemed confused, like he couldn't understand why she had helped him. Matt Thompson, the ship's engineer, was still working at his station. Matt was a quiet man who loved machines more than people. Even with aliens on his bridge, he kept checking the ship's systems. "Matt, what are you doing?" Ben Parker asked. "The life support system is acting up," Matt replied, without looking up. "If I don't fix it, we'll all be breathing bad air." In about an hour, one of the Vorthik warriors grabbed Matt's shoulder. "You will stop working and pay attention to your superiors." Matt looked at the warrior's hand, then at his face. "I need to finish this. Unless you want to die from bad air, I suggest you let M work." The warrior's eyes grew wide. No one had ever talked to him like that. He raised his weapon, ready to hurt Matt. "Wait," Kethver said. The warrior stopped. "Let him work. I want to see what he does." Matt went back to his repairs. His hands moved quickly over the controls, fixing problems that even he couldn't fully explain. The Vorthik warriors watched as he worked, fascinated by his skill. "How do you know so much about your machines?" asked one of the warriors. "I've been working with them for 15 years, Matt replied. "When you spend that much time with something, you learn how it thinks." "Machines don't think," the warrior said. Matt smiled. "That's what people always say, but they're wrong." Lisa. Carter was still at her communication station, but now she was working on something different. She was trying to create a better translation system so the humans and Vorthik could understand each other better. "War Chief," she said, "I'm working on improving our translation. Would you be willing to help me test it?" Kethver stared at her. "You want my help?" "Yes. If we're going to be on the same ship, we should be able to talk to each other properly." The War Chief walked over to Lisa's station. "What do you need me to do?" "Just say some words in your language. Simple things like colors, numbers, directions." For the next few minutes, Kethver spoke Vorthik words while Lisa adjusted her computer. Soon, the translation was much clearer. "This is better," Kethver said. "Your technology is more advanced than it first appeared." "We've always been good at making things work," Lisa replied. Ryan Brooks had been quietly studying the Vorthik warriors with his scientific instruments. "Fascinating," he said to himself. "What is fascinating?" Kethver asked. Ryan looked up, excited. "Your people. You're built for survival in a harsh environment. High gravity, extreme temperatures, probably dangerous predators. Your home world must be incredibly difficult to live on." "It is," Kethver said with pride. "Only the strong survive. On Vorth Prime, we are the strongest species in the galaxy." "That's amazing," Ryan said. "But what I don't understand is why you're so aggressive. Most species that face extreme survival pressure develop strong cooperation skills." Kethver paused. "Cooperation is for the weak. The strong take what they need." "But that's not always true," Ryan said. "Sometimes working together makes everyone stronger." The war chief looked around the bridge. He saw Amy still checking on the wounded warrior, Matt working to keep everyone safe, and Lisa trying to help them all communicate better. These humans were doing things that no other species had ever done. "Tell me about your world," Kethvar said to Jake. "This Earth, what is it like?" Jake thought for a moment. "It's beautiful, but dangerous. We have storms that can destroy cities, earthquakes that can split the ground, and winters that can freeze you solid. We have animals that hunt us, diseases that kill us, and disasters that can wipe out millions of people. Yet you survived." Kethver said, We more than survived, Jake replied. We learned to work together. We built cities, cured diseases, and explored the stars. We didn't just survive Earth. We made it better. For the first time since boarding the human ship, Kethver was beginning to wonder if he had made a mistake. These humans were not like other species the Vorthik had conquered. They were different in ways he couldn't yet understand, but he was about to learn just how different they really were. Kethvar walked over to the main computer terminal on the bridge. His clawed fingers moved over the controls, and Jake realized the war chief was downloading information about Earth from their ship's database. You will not resist, Kethver said. When he saw Jake step forward, I must know what kind of world creates creatures like you. Jake watched as the Vorthik computer began analyzing Earth's data. The war chief's yellow eyes moved across the screen, reading information about Earth's climate, geology, and history. Suddenly, Kethver stopped moving. His eyes grew wide, and he made a sound like a growl mixed with surprise. The other Vorthik warriors noticed their leader's reaction and moved closer to see what was happening. This cannot be correct, Kethver said, his voice quieter than before. Your computer must be broken. What's wrong? Jake asked. Kethver pointed at the screen. Your planet, Earth. The computer says it is a Class 12 Deathworld. The Vorthik warriors looked at each other in shock. Jake didn't understand what this meant, but he could see that it was important. What's a Class 12 Deathworld? Ryan asked. One of the Vorthik warriors answered, his voice full of disbelief. A planet so dangerous that most species would die within days of landing on it. Only the strongest, most deadly creatures can survive on such worlds. But you don't look deadly, another warrior said, staring at the humans. You look ... soft. Amy? Foster laughed. We might look soft, but we're tougher than we appear. We've had to be. Kethver turned back to the computer. Tell me about your ice ages, he commanded. Pete Collins, the ship's navigator, stepped forward. Pete was a calm man who knew Earth's history well. We've had several ice ages. The last one ended about 10,000 years ago. Most of the planet was covered in ice for thousands of years. And your people survived this? Asked a Vorthik warrior. Not just survived, Pete said. We learned to hunt giant animals, make fire, and build shelters. We developed tools and weapons. We worked together to stay alive. What about diseases? Kethver asked. Dr. Foster took over the explanation. Earth has thousands of diseases that can kill humans. Plagues have wiped out millions of people throughout our history. But we learned to fight back. We developed medicine, vaccines, and surgery. Natural disasters? Kethver continued. Earthquakes, volcanoes, hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, droughts. Jake listed. We've dealt with all of them. We've learned to predict them, prepare for them, and rebuild after they hit. Matt Thompson added, we've had to be creative. When nature tries to kill you, you learn to make tools and machines to protect yourself. You learn to adapt. The Vorthik warriors were silent. They had grown up on a dangerous world too, but they had responded to danger with aggression and violence. These humans had faced similar challenges, but had developed in a completely different way. You said your people worked together, Kethver said. But how is this possible? On dangerous worlds, only the strongest individuals survive. That's where you're wrong, Jake said. On Earth, the strongest individuals are the ones who can work with others. A human alone in the wilderness will die quickly. But humans working together can survive anything. Kate Murphy, the communications specialist, spoke up. We've always shared information. When one group of humans learned something new, they taught it to others. Knowledge made us stronger than any individual could be alone. Show me, Kethvar demanded. Jake looked at his crew. You heard him. Show them how humans work together. What happened next amazed the Vorthic warriors. Without being told what to do, the human crew began working as a team. Lisa coordinated communications. Ryan analyzed the ship's position. Pete plotted a course. Matt checked the engines. Ben organized security. And Amy prepared medical supplies. Each human knew exactly what the others were doing. They shared information constantly, helped each other when needed, and worked toward the same goal. It was like watching a single organism with many parts. We call this cooperation, Jake explained. When humans work together, we become stronger than the sum of our parts. But what about leadership? Asked a Vorthic warrior. Who commands? I do, Jake said. But I only command because my crew trusts me. If I make bad decisions, they can choose a new leader. You choose your leaders? Kethver was shocked. How can the weak choose who leads them? Because the weak, as you call them, are the ones who have to follow the leader's orders, Jake explained. If a leader doesn't care about his people, he won't be a leader for long. Ryan pulled up more information about Earth on his screen. War Chief, look at this. These are Earth's predators. The screen showed pictures of lions, tigers, sharks, bears, and other dangerous animals. The Vorthic warriors leaned in to look. Your planet has many hunting beasts, one warrior observed. Yes, Ryan said, but look at this. He showed them pictures of humans hunting mammoths, building cities, and exploring space. We didn't just survive these predators. We became the top predator on our world. How? Kethver asked. By being smarter, Ryan replied. We couldn't outrun a lion or outfight a bear, so we learned to make weapons, set traps, and hunt in groups. We used our brains instead of our claws. Amy showed them medical scans of human bodies. We're not the fastest or strongest creatures on Earth, but we're one of the most adaptable. We can live in deserts, forests, mountains, and ice fields. We can eat almost anything and survive in almost any environment. But most importantly, Jake added, we never gave up. Every time Earth tried to kill us, we found a way to fight back. Every time we faced a problem we couldn't solve alone, we worked together to find a solution. Kethver stared at the humans for a long moment. You are saying that your strength comes not from individual power, but from working together? That's exactly what we're saying, Jake replied. But this is impossible, a Vorthic warrior protested. The strong must dominate the weak. That is the way of nature. Maybe on your world, Kate said. But on Earth, the strong protect the weak. The smart teach the ignorant. The healthy care for the sick. That's how we all survive. You care for those who cannot help themselves? Kethver asked. Of course, Amy said. A society that abandons its weak members is not really strong. It's just cruel. The Vorthic warriors looked at each other in confusion. Everything they had been taught about survival and strength was being challenged by these small, soft humans. There is something else, Ryan said, looking at his readings. War Chief, what class of Deathworld is your home planet? Kethver stood up straighter with pride. 4th Prime is a Class 9 Deathworld. It has made us the strongest warriors in the galaxy. But Earth is a Class 12, Ryan pointed out. That means it's more dangerous than your world. The silence that followed was deafening. The Vorthic had always believed they were the ultimate survivors, the strongest species in the galaxy. But these humans came from a world that was even more dangerous than 4th Prime. And instead of becoming violent and aggressive, the humans had learned to work together. Kethver looked at Jake with new eyes. Perhaps, he said slowly, we need to learn more about each other. Kethver stood in the center of the bridge, his yellow eyes studying each human crew member. The war chief was clearly thinking about something important. Finally, he spoke. I do not believe what I have heard, he said. Your world may be classified as more dangerous than ours, but that does not mean you are stronger. The Vorthik are warriors. We prove our strength through combat. Jake felt his stomach tighten. War Chief, we don't want to fight you. We've already explained that we prefer to work together. And I do not believe that cooperation makes you strong, Kethver replied. I challenge your crew to prove their worth. If you are truly from a dangerous world, you will not fear a few simple tests. The Vorthik warriors smiled, showing their sharp teeth. They had been hoping for a chance to show these humans what real strength looked like. What kind of tests? Jake asked carefully. Combat, endurance, and problem-solving, Kethver said. If your people fail, you will surrender your ship and become slaves of the Vorthik Empire. If you succeed ... double quotes, he paused. We will discuss what happens if you succeed. Jake looked at his crew. They were all looking back at him, waiting for his decision. He knew they were brave, but the Vorthik were trained warriors who are much larger and stronger than humans. We accept, Jake said. But we have conditions. No one gets killed. These are tests of ability, not fights to the death. Agreed, Kethver said. We will begin with combat. Choose your strongest warrior. Jake looked at Ben Parker. Ben was the security chief, trained in hand-to-hand combat and the use of weapons. He was also the biggest member of the crew, though still much smaller than the Vorthik. I'll do it, Ben said, standing up. Who am I fighting? One of the Vorthik warriors stepped forward. He was about the same size as Kethver, with scars covering his arms and face. I am Gorthik. I have won 500 battles. I'm Ben Parker, Ben replied calmly. I've won a few myself. The two fighters moved to an open area of the bridge. The Vorthik warrior cracked his knuckles, and the sound was like breaking wood. Ben simply stood in a fighting stance, his hands raised and ready. Begin, Kethver commanded. Gorthik charged forward like a bull, his massive fists swinging at Ben's head. But Ben wasn't where the alien expected him to be. The human had stepped to the side and swept his leg, causing the Vorthik to stumble. Stand still and fight, Gorthik roared. Not how it works, Ben replied. Fighting isn't about being the biggest. It's about being the smartest. The Vorthik warrior charged again, but Ben was ready. He ducked under the alien's swing and hit him in the ribs with quick, precise punches. Gorthik grunted with pain and, surprise, you fight like a coward, the warrior complained. I fight like a human, Ben said. We don't have claws or fangs, so we learn to use our brains. The fight continued for several minutes. Gorthik was stronger, but Ben was faster and more skilled. Every time the Vorthik tried to grab him, Ben slipped away and struck back. The alien was getting tired, while Ben seemed to be getting stronger. Finally, Ben managed to get behind Gorthik and put him in a chokehold. The Vorthik warrior struggled, but Ben's technique was perfect. After a few seconds, Gorthik tapped the floor, signaling surrender. Impossible, whispered another Vorthik warrior. Gorthik has never been defeated. Ben helped the defeated warrior to his feet. Good fight, he said. You're very strong. Gorthik stared at Ben with respect. You are a true warrior, human. Small, but dangerous. Kethvar nodded slowly. The first test is complete. Now for endurance. We will see how long your people can work under pressure. The war chief explained the test. The humans would have to repair a damaged section of the Vorthik ship while wearing heavy weights and breathing thin air. Most species could only work for a few minutes under such conditions. I'll handle this one, Matt Thompson said. Machines are my specialty. I'll help, Dr. Foster added. Medical training includes working under stress. The two humans were taken to the Vorthik ship, where they were given heavy packs to wear and breathing masks that limited their air supply. Damaged section they had to repair was a complex engine component that even Vorthik engineers had trouble with. "You have 1 hour," Kethver said. "If you cannot complete the repair, you fail the test." Matt and Amy got to work immediately. The heavy packs made every movement difficult, and the thin air made them feel dizzy. But they didn't give up. Matt studied the broken engine, while Amy organized the tools they would need. "This is similar to a fusion reactor," Matt said through his breathing mask. "But the power flow is different. Amy, can you hold this component while I reroute the energy conduits?" "Got it," Amy replied, her hands steady despite the weight on her back. The Vorthak engineers watched in amazement as the two humans worked. Together, Matt's knowledge of machines combined with Amy's steady hands and medical precision made them an effective team. They talked to each other constantly, sharing information and coordinating their efforts. "The pressure seal is cracked," Amy observed, "but I can patch it with this medical adhesive. It should hold until you can replace the part." "Perfect," Matt said. "That's exactly what we need." After 45 minutes, the engine component was repaired and working better than it had before. The Vorthik engineers tested it and found that the humans had actually improved its efficiency. "How did you do this?" asked the chief Vorthik engineer. "We have been trying to fix this for weeks." "Different perspective?" Matt explained. "Sometimes when you're too close to a problem, you can't see the solution. Fresh eyes help. And teamwork," Amy added. "Two people working together can accomplish more than one person working alone." Back on the human ship, Kethver was beginning to understand what made these humans different. They had passed both tests, but not in the way he expected. They didn't win through brute force or individual skill. They won by working together and thinking creatively. "The final test," Kethver announced, "is problem solving. You will be given a scenario that requires strategy and leadership." "Captain Morrison, this test is for you." The war chief described a complex military situation. 2 enemy fleets were approaching a defenseless colony world. The defender had limited resources and was outnumbered. Most military leaders would either fight and die bravely, or retreat and save themselves. "What is your solution?" Kethver asked. Jake thought for a moment. "First, I need more information. What are the enemy fleets fighting about? What do they want?" "They want to conquer the colony," Kethver said. "Why does that matter?" "Because if I know what they want, I might be able to give them something else," Jake explained. "Maybe they're fighting over resources that can be found somewhere else. Maybe they're fighting because of a misunderstanding." "You would negotiate with enemies?" A Vorthik warrior asked in disbelief. "I would try to avoid unnecessary death," Jake replied. "But if negotiation fails, I would use the colony's knowledge of the local area to set traps and ambushes. 2 enemy fleets means they might not trust each other. I could try to turn them against each other. And if that fails, then I would evacuate the colony while using hit-and-run tactics to slow down the enemy fleets. The goal isn't to win a glorious battle. The goal is to save lives." Kethver stared at Jake for a long moment. "You think like no military leader I have ever encountered. Most would choose to fight or run. You look for a third option." "There's always a third option," Jake said. "Sometimes you just have to be creative enough to find it." The war chief looked around at the human crew. They had passed all 3 tests, but not in ways he had expected. They had shown strength, but it was a different kind of strength than the Vorthik understood. "I have seen enough," Kethver said. "You have proven that you are worthy of respect. But I still do not understand how cooperation makes you strong." "Then let us show you," Jake said. "Give us a problem that none of us can solve alone. Watch what happens when humans work together." Kethver smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "Very well. I have such a problem." Kethvar activated a holographic display that showed a star map of the local area. Red dots marked the positions of several ships, and Jake could see they were in trouble. 3 days ago, a Vorthic transport ship was damaged by space pirates. The war chief explained. The ship is carrying civilians, families of our warriors. They are stranded near a dangerous nebula, and their life support systems are failing. Jake studied the map. Why haven't you rescued them? The pirates are still in the area, Kethver said. They have faster ships and better weapons than our transport vessels. Every time we send a rescue ship, the pirates attack it. We have lost 2 ships already. What about your warships? Ben asked. Our warships are too large to navigate the nebula safely, Kethver admitted. And by the time they arrive, the transport ship will be out of air. The civilians have maybe 18 hours left. Jake felt his heart sink. This was exactly the kind of problem that required creative thinking and teamwork. What resources do we have? Your ship, my ship, and 1 small Vorthic patrol vessel, Kethver said. The patrol ship is fast but lightly armed. My ship is powerful but slow. Your ship is ... double quotes. He paused. What are your ship's capabilities? We're built for exploration, not fighting, Jake said. We're fast, we have good sensors, and we can handle rough conditions. But our weapons are limited. Ryan was already studying the star map. Captain, look at this nebula. It's full of electrical storms and radiation. That's why the big ships can't go in safely. But smaller ships could navigate it? Jake asked. Maybe, Ryan said. It would. Be dangerous, but possible. Lisa had been working at her communication station. Captain, I'm picking up the transport ship's distress signal. They're definitely in trouble. Life support is failing, and they have over 200 civilians on. Board. 200? Amy repeated. That's a lot of people. Jake turned to Kethver. You said this was a problem none of us could solve alone. What did you mean? The pirates have 4 ships, Kethvar explained. Your ship alone cannot fight them. My ship alone cannot reach the transport in time. The patrol ship alone cannot carry all the civilians. None of us can solve this problem by ourselves. But together we might be able to, Jake said. He looked at his crew. What do you think? Can we do this? Pete studied the navigation data. The nebula has safe corridors, but they change constantly. We'd need real-time navigation updates to get through safely. I can provide those, Lisa said. If I link our sensors with the patrol ship's sensors, we can map the safe routes as we go. Matt was examining the technical specifications of all 3 ships. The patrol ship is fast, but has limited cargo space. But if we modify its cargo bays and life support systems, we could carry more people. How long would that take? Kethver asked. About 6 hours if I work alone, Matt said. But if your engineers help me, we could do it in 2 hours. Amy was thinking about the medical situation. 200 civilians who have been without proper life support for days. They'll need immediate medical attention. Dr. Kethver, do your people have medical supplies? We do, Kethver said. But our medics are trained for treating warriors, not families with children. Then we'll need to work together on that too, Amy said. I can teach your medics how to treat humans and other civilian species. Ben had been studying the pirate positions. 4 pirate ships, you said. What's their attack pattern? They work in pairs, Kethver explained. 2 ships attack from the front, while 2 circle around to attack from behind. Classic pincer movement, Ben nodded. But it only works if the enemy stays in one place. What if we don't? Jake was beginning to see a plan forming. Ryan, how long would it take to get through the nebula to the transport ship? In normal space, about 4 hours, Ryan calculated. But through the nebula's safe corridors, maybe 8 hours. That's cutting it very close. Then we need to be fast and smart, Jake said. He turned to Kethver. War Chief, Are you willing to trust us with your people's lives? Kethver looked at his warriors, then back at the humans. You have proven your worth. Yes, I will trust you. Good, Jake said. Here's what we're going to do. Lisa, I need you to create a communication network between all three ships. We need to coordinate perfectly. Already working on it, Lisa replied. Matt, you and the Vorthic engineers modify the patrol ship to carry as many people as possible. Amy, you prepare medical supplies and train the Vorthic medics. What about the pirates? Ben asked. Jake smiled. That's where things get interesting. Pete, can you plot a course that brings us close to the pirate positions? You want to attack them? Kethver asked, surprised. No, Jake said. I want to distract them. Ben, you and I are going to take the horizon and make some noise. We'll draw the pirates away from the nebula entrance. That's suicide, a Vorthic warrior protested. 4 ships against 1? Not if we're smart about it, Jake said. We're not going to fight them. We're going to run. But we're going to make them chase us in the wrong direction. Kethver was beginning to understand. While the pirates chase your ship, my ship and the patrol vessel rescue the civilians. Exactly, Jake said. But we need perfect timing and coordination. Everyone has to do their part. For the next 2 hours, the combined human and Vorthic crews worked together like they had been teammates for years. Matt and the Vorthic engineers modified the patrol ship systems. Amy trained alien medics in human first aid techniques. Lisa created a communication network that allowed all 3 ships to share information instantly. Doc Ryan and the Vorthic navigators plotted multiple courses through the nebula, preparing backup plans in case something went wrong. Pete worked with the patrol ship's pilot to plan the fastest possible rescue route. This is incredible, one Vorthic warrior said to Ben. I have never seen crews from different ships work together like this. It's what humans do, Ben replied. When people are in danger, we forget about our differences and focus on saving lives. When everything was ready, the 3 ships moved into position. Jake and his crew took the horizon toward the pirate positions, while Kethver's ship and the patrol vessel headed for the nebula entrance. All ships, this is Captain Morrison, Jake announced over the communication network. Operation begins now. Stay in contact and watch out for each other. The horizon appeared on the pirates' sensors, just as Jake had planned. The 4 pirate ships immediately changed course to intercept what they thought was an easy target. Pirate ships approaching fast, Lisa reported. They're taking the bait. Good, Jake said. Pete, take us on a wild chase. Make them work for it. The horizon darted between asteroids and through radiation fields, always staying just out of reach of the pirate ships. The pirates followed, getting more frustrated and angry with each passing minute. Meanwhile, Kethver's ship and the patrol vessel entered the nebula. The electrical storms and radiation made navigation extremely dangerous, but Lisa's sensor network helped them find safe corridors. Transport ship in sight, reported the patrol ship's captain. They're in bad shape, but they're alive. Beginning rescue operations, Kethvar announced. The rescue took 3 hours. The patrol ship, with its modified cargo bays, could carry most of the civilians. Kethver's ship took the rest, along with the transport ship's crew. All civilians secure, Amy reported from the patrol ship. Medical teams are treating the injured. Everyone's going to be okay. Excellent, Jake said from the horizon, which was still leading the pirates on a chase through the asteroid field. Now comes the tricky part. We need to lose these pirates and get out of here. Pete had been saving the best trick for last. He piloted the horizon into a dense asteroid field where the larger pirate ships couldn't follow. The humans' superior navigation skills allowed them to escape through gaps that would have destroyed the pirate vessels. Pirates are giving up the chase, Ben reported. We're clear. All ships, rendezvous at the edge of the system. Jake ordered. An hour later, the three ships met in empty space. The rescue mission was complete, and all 200 civilians were safe. Kethver contacted Jake over the communication system. Captain Morrison, you and your crew have saved the lives of my people. The Vorthic Empire owes you a great debt. No debt necessary, Jake replied. We're just glad we could help. But I must ask, Kethver continued, how did you coordinate such a complex operation so quickly? My warriors are trained for years to work together, but your crew seemed to know what each other was thinking. Jake smiled. That's the secret of human cooperation, War Chief. We don't just work together when we're ordered to. We work together because we choose to. When everyone is committed to the same goal, amazing things become possible. I am beginning to understand, Kethver said. Your strength comes not from individual power, but from the power of the group. That's right, Jake said. And now that we've worked together, maybe we can continue to help each other. The galaxy is a big place with lots of problems. We could solve more of them together than either of us could solve alone. Kethver was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke, and his voice carried a tone of respect that Jake had never heard from him before. Captain Morrison, I would like to invite humanity to join the Vorthic Empire. Not as subjects, but as equals, partners. Jake felt his heart race. This was beyond anything he had hoped for when the alien ship first approached them. War Chief K.